ANZ's huge 3% cash rate prediction. Let's have a look. Good evening everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your, mug of coffee today. Don't worry, the Stein's still here, just haven't transferred my coffee over. And let's have a look at ANZ's dire predictions about the cash rate. We looked at CBA, they were predicting a hike up to 2.35. Well, ANZ is not one to be outdone. They're saying 3%. RBA's cash rate to climb above 3% by year's end. And for those playing at home, the cash rate is now at 1.35%. So it's been a while since we've been above 3%. 3% used to be the emergency level, and then only go below it in an emergency. Look at what's how long it's been since we've been at 3%, guys. So, if this proves correct, it's definitely going to have an impact on a lot of people. So let's have a look at this article from savings.com.au. So, ANZ economists have brought forward their forecast of a 3% cash rate by 12 months, tipping the RBA to reach the milestone by November, everyone. Strong momentum in the labour market and ongoing risk of high inflation have resulted in ANZ bringing forward its initial cash rate forecasts, driven by the belief that the RBA will not be comfortable with policy simply getting to neutral by the end of the year. The Big Four banks anticipates the RBA will deliver 4 more successive 50 basis point rate hikes in August, September, October, and November, resulting in 200 basis points of additional tightening. This will see the cash rate target reach 3.35% by November, 2 percentage points higher than it currently is. If a mortgage went from 3% to 5% per annum on 30-year terms, it would be 700. How much mortgage? I'm assuming an average. 708 to the monthly repayment on the average home loan size. Yeah, you're going to see people get a big hit. They really are. The RBA estimates 200 basis points in rate rises could sink house prices by 15%. Well, house prices, and let's have a look at my city here because it's quite stark, just at least asking prices, how they've shot up. We'll just wait for this data from SQM to load. We'll reload the page there, and boom, you can see there. So let's say we'll go 3-betters. We're at, 800 grand. So if we lose a quarter of that, I know that's more than they were saying, or losing a fifth of that. Hang on, let's do the sums. Here, what do we have? 800 times. Okay, so if we lose 15%, so we're talking, we'll drop down 680,000. So then, hang on, wrong screen, guys. I've got 3 screens going. So how far back in time are we going? We're going still not 2021 in Brisbane. Okay, so we're still kind of about here. Guys, we're still not going. We've had such a significant increase in property over the last couple of years. It's been insane. Even these forecasted reductions, it's not going to mean property is affordable for people who were struggling to get in 2 years ago. It just means there's going to be some people that may be stuck in negative equity or in a bit of a hole or in some trouble. And, I don't think people are going to rush to sell up if they're in negative equity. They're going to do everything they can to keep their house. ANZ head of Australian economics, David Plank, said there's a significant chance the RBA could opt to move by more than 50 basis points at one or more of its upcoming meetings. 75 basis points, say, or even 65 basis points to round the cash rate target to its nearest 25, Mr. Plank said. We would view this as a bring forward rather than imply a higher terminal rate. At this stage, our thinking is that the cash rate will need to remain at this restrictive setting for an extended period. but we are conscious the downside risks to the economic outlook will increase with such a rapid move to a restrictive setting. Well, yes. Yeah. I mean, what do you reckon, guys? I think this will drive us into a recession. We'll have to see. I don't think it's going to be a housing crash that people are anticipating, but it's not going to help anyone, is it? This whole thing's a mess. The US Federal Reserve has already moved to a restrictive setting to combat an annual inflation rate of 9.1%, the highest since November 81. Mr. Plank notes, the faster move to a restrictive rate setting by the RBA will bring forward the point to which the economy slows before trend. It also suggests house prices will fall by more than 15%, but it doesn't necessarily mean a hard landing for the economy. A cash rate of 3.35% implies that household interest payments as a percentage of household income peak below the level reached in 2008. So, CommBank joins ANZ. CommBank was less bullish. Yes, we're already aware of this. We went through this in a previous video where their expectations are 2.6%, where ANZ is certainly much higher at 3% or 3.35%. Let's have a look at this tweet. ANZ Research has brought forward its expectation the RBA will lift rates above 3% to late 2022. This reflects the momentum in the labour market and the upside risks to inflation, most likely delivered by a series of 50 basis point hikes, but larger can't be ruled out. Let's have a talk about this one. Remember when, back long ago, our Reserve Bank governor told us that the cash rate wouldn't increase until 2024. Remember that, everyone? I remember that because it was one of the reasons that I decided to lock in at this low rates, sub 2% fixed rates. I mean, we can only get it for a few years. I managed to get it for 4 years, and I've heard some really interesting stories from viewers that managed to play one bank off another and get a really good deal. Now, there's going to be a percentage of people that have overcapitalized, borrowed too much, locked in at a low rate, and they're going to get really hit when they get out of it. Rather than those of us that just don't trust the good governor and thought we'd take advantage of insanely cheap money. Now, how many people are going to be on Struggle Street? You got ABC, the media, they're going to play it up. The sob stories have already started to appear. And there's calls for more regulation and more intervention and people not taking responsibility for their own decisions. Blaming the banks. They shouldn't have lent me that money. Why did they do that? I mean, that's just the modus operandi for most Australians now. We're so used to being nannied and a paternalistic government that's the default positions people have. And they think that's normal. They think that's a good thing. I don't know. If anything, I think it's a sign that a nation needs to toughen up. I'm hoping there's another article I saw that I want to go through, but it's an example of a mother's saving tips, grocery saving tips. And you think, well, what does that have to do with anything? It has to do with everything. Because this is a woman who, for the first time in her life, has actually started budgeting. And she's my age. 38 years old, a bit younger than me. Hasn't had to worry about it, just was randomly shopping. And now she just made a plan and stuck to it. Simple things like that. There are going to be a whole lot of Australians that have borrowed a truckload of money and they are going to suddenly hit a wall where they have to realize that maybe they need to plan their life a bit better and they actually take control of their finances. Remember, the banks have stress tested people 3%, 2% higher. So we'll have to see what happens. Maybe, is the stress testing any good? Or does the stress testing mean people have to start living like previous generations within our means? Because they're going to do everything they can to hold on to their houses. everything they can. And investors, well, I can't imagine they'd want to ditch property in the short term. They're long-term holders, most of them, or they'll up the rent. Or, hey, you get a greater negative return. More negative gearing. Isn't that what everyone wants? Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Only one video today. We've been frantically concreting under the house. As if you look behind me, the bags are all gone. We'll get back to normal episodes tomorrow. If you're a fan and enjoy the content, there's a few ways you can help out. Simply watching, liking, sharing the videos. It really helps all YouTubers. You know, the algorithm and that type of stuff. You can financially support us if you want to via YouTube or Patreon. You can use our referral links to help us out that way. Buy our merch. We've got pocket squares. Or call us if you need an architect, guys. There's a few people that have made requested discussions about projects. I'll follow that up, guys. Sorry, I missed it because there was an error with the software that I was using to send it. So I'll get in touch. Thank you all very much. Take care, guys. Have a great day. And I'll see you in the next episode. I've got an idea for a gymnasium. All you do is just lift like a ton of concrete from one side of a room to another. And that's just the exercise. What do you reckon, lads? You think it'll work?